Do you have student loans? Are you thinking about public service loan forgiveness? Now, it's 2021, and with student loans, who knows what's going to happen? I can't say that I have the exact answer for you, but I can share with you a few of my considerations if I had student loans in 2021. Hello again, and welcome to my channel. My name is Dr. Brittany Halford, and on this channel, we talk about all things personal finance to bring more joy and more wealth in your life. And today we're going to talk about student loans and the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program. Now, if you know anything about the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program, you've probably heard, like me, a lot of negative press. Public Service Student Loan Forgiveness Program actually started in 2007, which meant that if you made the 120 qualifying payments, so that's about 10 years, the first payoff would have occurred in 2017. And if you read in the news, only 1% of those who thought they were eligible, of those who were eligible, actually received loan forgiveness. Now, I don't know about you, but 1% doesn't sound too good. And even now in 2021, the numbers are staggering, with an estimated 3% of those who were qualified, thought they were qualified, thought that they were going to get public service loan forgiveness, actually had their loans forgiven. Should you waste your time in applying for this public service loan forgiveness, especially with everything up in the air? I would say it really depends on you. And what do I mean by that? What is your job? Do you actually qualify for public service loan forgiveness? Employers who qualify for public service loan forgiveness are those who work for nonprofits or governmental agencies like doctors, police officers, firemen, teachers, others in the healthcare field who actually may benefit from loan forgiveness. If your employer actually qualifies for public service loan forgiveness, then this may be a good option for you. The second question is, how long do you want to work for the employer who falls under the umbrella of public service? Because you have to make 120 qualifying payments and also still work for the employer who meets the qualifications when your loans are actually repaid. For example, if you are a physician and you think that you're going to go into private practice after residency, then this may not be the best option for you. Or if you're on the brink of transitioning careers and finding that the job that you started actually is not bringing you as much joy as you initially thought, then this also may not be the right option for you. The third thing you want to consider is how much student loans do you actually have and how much income do you have? In my personal experience, I've paid back my student loans, all of them, by refinancing my student loans. So I thought that the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program was not a great option for me. And that's because I only had, well, I say only, it's a lot. It's a lot, guys. I had $138,000 in debt after I finished paying it all off. I started out with $131,000 for medical school. So that's a significant amount of debt, right? I'm not going to minimize the amount of debt that I paid off. Also, when I started as an attending, I started out with a salary of $195,000. So for me, it seemed manageable to pay back this amount of debt in a reasonable period of time through refinancing, opposed to staying in the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program. However, if I graduated and I had $400,000 in student loans and I was making the $195,000 salary, I likely would have stayed in the Public Service Loan Forgiveness because there's a higher likelihood that I would have had more money forgiven and have paid smaller amounts over time because my salary was not that high compared to my amount of debt. Now, if you want to just calculate your own numbers of how much debt you have, what your interest rates are, and the potential monthly payments for each income-driven repayment plan and the amount of loans that would be forgiven, go to and use the Student Loan Hero Calculator. This is actually the best calculator that I found that helps you to play around with the numbers and figure out if it's actually worth staying in the program and going through the headache of submitting all of that documentation for 10 years with hopes that your loans will be forgiven. Next, you want to consider, do you want to work full-time with this employer for the duration of your 120 qualifying payments? For me personally, I am now working 60%. And my husband was able to support me in that without us having to sacrifice our finances significantly. But if I were to make that decision while being under the public service loan forgiveness, my payments would actually not qualify because I am less than what they consider to be full-time. And the definition for working full-time at your employer is at least 30 hours a week. So if you think that you're going to take time off, then you're likely going to be extending that period at which you might have your loans forgiven and also accrue more interest during that time frame. Thankfully for us, we can do that. We're both debt-free. My husband has paid off his student loans. I have paid off my student loans. So we're able to just have the liberty of decreasing the amount of time we work or quitting our jobs if we want. But if you were to hope for loan forgiveness, you would not have that luxury. I'm going to read specifically from the website studentaid.gov of what it says for qualifying for public service loan forgiveness. To qualify for public service loan forgiveness, you must be employed by a U.S. federal, state, local, or tribal government or for non-for-profit organization, work full-time for the organization, have direct loans or consolidated other federal student loans into a direct loan, repay your loans under an income-driven repayment plan, and make 120 qualifying payments. What I've learned about the 120 qualifying payments is that you cannot pay a lump sum. So you have to make payments each and every month, and the payments must be on time. So if you make any payments that are late, those payments do not qualify for the 120 qualifying payments. So most people say for public service loan forgiveness that after 10 years your loans will be forgiven. Not after 10 years if you miss a payment, or not after 10 years if they lose documentation, which happens, what I hear very frequently, of a payment that you've made and you have to pay subsequent payments or more payments in addition to what you have determined to be your 120 qualifying payments. Also, if your loans go into forbearance, if they go into default, that time period does not qualify for your 120 qualifying payments. And I think it depends on the forbearance, right? If it's a personal forbearance or if it's administrative forbearance, like what the current student loans are in, where the federal government has said, okay, we're just going to put everybody's loans in forbearance. Nonetheless, there are 120 qualifying payments. And this may all change under the Biden administration, but I think it is important that we think about, should we actually apply for the public service loan forgiveness, and will that actually work for your lifestyle? Would you be better off just refinancing your student loans for a lower rate and being free of all of these stipulations? For me, having the freedom was more important than the amount of money that could have been forgiven. So use the Student Loan Hero calculator or other calculators to determine how much of your student loans you'll actually pay back, how long it'll take you to pay back those student loans, and how much you'll have forgiven. The decision is yours and yours alone, but also make sure you think about logically the amount of money that you're going to spend, and psychologically the freedom or the burden of being in one program or the other. I hope that this was helpful for you guys, and please let me know in the comments below. Are you in the public service loan forgiveness program, and how many years do you actually have in the public service loan forgiveness program? I'm hoping that everybody, like all of you, get your loans forgiven. We'll see what happens with the Biden administration. I am watching everything closely to see if it's 10,000, 50,000, or everybody just gets their loan forgiveness. Praise God, that would be an amazing thing for so many people, because this is a problem that cripples many of us. I want you guys to have financial freedom and to have more joy in your life. Again, thanks for watching, and I will see you next week. All right, take care. Bye-bye.